So, VK on the beat, check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1080 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals for your home and your business. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Doer, the world's most comfortable pants and shorts. Save 15% with the promo code TorontoMike. Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. And Canna Cabana, the lowest prices on cannabis. Guaranteed. Over 100 stores across the country. Learn more at cannacabana.com. Reuniting here in person on Toronto Mic'd are Leo Rautins and Rod Black.
Really? Reunited and it feels so good.
Yeah.
Reunited and he farts so good.
Wow.
Where the hell are we? Where excuse
Leo.
me, Toronto Mike.
Yes, Rod.
Interesting that you're sponsored by a beer company and a funeral parlor, because this podcast is actually done from a crypt. I'm looking look at this. Like, here we go. Like, look at this. I don't know. There you
Friday
go.
the 13th.
There it is.
Friday the 13th.
Thank you so much for coming today. This place is even found on a GPS. I looked over there in the corner. Jimmy Hoffa's there.
Do you hear
It's
a
crazy.
chainsaw? Do you hear a chainsaw in the background?
It's crazy.
That's okay, I'll take it.
There you go. There's your mask. Good to see my boy Leo. Good to see you, Mike. And good to have some beer. And it's a little early, but again,
It's never
5
stopped.
o'clock.
where the hell are we?
Leo,
This is like I'm sure we're in like this witness protection program.
Hey,
I
you
know
weren't-
I've been
hey,
there for a year.
Mike, you weren't planning on asking any questions, are you? Because you know you're not going to get a word in.
Like, Mike, seriously, where the hell do you, like, what is this? Did you just get out of jail? Like, what? I'm like, I cannot, like, they had to put hoods over our heads to bring us down to the basement. And you got this pasta place that is, what's it called? Palma's Kitchen? Where the hell's the pasta? There's no pasta
it's
here.
in the
It's an empty
freezer.
box.
Oh, there.
It's in the
Okay.
freezer.
I'm only kidding. Good to see you guys.
So-
I like your place.
Okay, Leo Rautins, this is your third visit to the basement, right?
Yeah. And I haven't hit my head yet.
I already hit my head.
Yeah, Rod
So
hits
what
it
is
first.
there like a? Do you call this like you call it the basement, or do you call it something else?
I call it the TMDS studio.
Okay.
But Leo,
It's nice.
tell Rod.
It's nice if you're vertically challenged. Like why don't you invite Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb? they would love this place.
But again, Leo's third visit, he's yet to hit his head.
I'm good.
He's used to that.
You know what
stuff.
pisses me off? When you get off a plane or you're anything like that, they go, watch your head. What do you think I've been doing my whole life? Why don't you tell that guy to watch his head? You don't have to tell me to watch my head.
But the worst fear I have right now is not my head; it's my nostrils, because this is a very
my
enclosed.
God. Here we go again.
Very enclosed space.
Here we go again.
Very enclosed
Can
space.
I tell you something? Can I tell you something?
Very
Shut up.
enclosed
Just shut up for a
space.
second. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. So hey,
close your legs. Close your legs, man.
So one occasion, okay, in a studio, right? And I, you know, sometimes you get a bad stomach. I mean,
You've had a bad stomach for 2 decades.
I'm talking now.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
not the host. I'm talking.
Okay.
So, I had a little bad stomach one time in my life, right? So now, what does this guy try to do? He tries to pin everything on me. So this one night in studio, all right, we come out of a commercial. We come into commercial, and this all of a sudden
You blasted
wait.
Sam Mitchell, you and
Sam,
I.
And you know what Sam Mitchell said? The guy that called it is probably the guy that
No,
dropped
guy
it.
who dealt it did not smell it.
No.
Buddy.
No, all of a sudden
Buddy.
I'm looking, and Rod's looking
Mine
at
don't
me.
smell.
He's looking
yours,
at me.
Yours are like napalm.
Hey, he's looking at me from the other end of the desk, and he's got this crazy smile, and then he tries to blame me. So everybody at home's thinking it's me. This guy's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Shut up. Shut up.
You are unbelievable.
He did it to me once before in a pregame show as well.
Come on,
We're talking about I can't remember something about Damon Stoudemire, and he comes and it was in my hair, it was in my eyebrows. It was like I was coughing and gagging. Fortunately, it was a pregame show, and I was.
And if
giggling.
you believe any of this,
ask Sam Mitchell, who the first night Leo was Mr. Really Nice Guy. Oh, here's Sam, guys, it's good to be here. So Leo's got it, and then Leo lets one rip about 4 in. And Sam just goes, Leo, what is wrong with you? And we should have been sponsored by Febreze. But anyway.
And all that.
And his
just
kid,
a tall
his
tale
kid
by
is
the guy.
worse.
The guy that drops
his kid, Sammy is worse than you are. Sammy is worse than you are.
Sammy is bad.
What is wrong with you guys?
Sammy and I drove back from Florida. 24 hours straight. You know what? The windows are open the whole time. It was unbelievable.
Between the two of you, dueling
between Sammy's right and left leg. That's what it was.
Anyway, we didn't come to talk about farts. But
we didn't? Then
actually, it's on the agenda.
Well, because seriously, you're going to...
The guy that calls it is the guy that drops it.
No, Delta didn't smell it. Trust me.
No,
Mike knows. He's heard that you're legendary.
No.
You're legendary. Your flatulence is legendary.
Liars. World is full of liars.
Leo
That's what makes me
Rautins.
sick today.
Have you ever met...
People just make up crap.
Yeah, Leo
to
Rautins.
serve themselves. How does this make you... Do you feel better lowering me down, demeaning me like you have for years and
do you
feel better right now?
I never demean you. I love you.
I love you. Do you shine brighter?
I love you. I just don't like your asshole.
Do you shine brighter when you
don't like your asshole?
Dim my light. When you dim my light.
Seriously, like, man, put a cork in it. Do something.
Just shut this guy up.
Do something with that butthole of yours.
Oh, my God.
All right off the top, thank you guys for making the trek to be here.
Okay, thanks for being here. See you. Goodbye.
Have a good night.
See you. Good night, everybody.
Now, Leo, thanks again. This is your third time, buddy. You're an awesome FOTM. But Rod, even though you've made several appearances on the program in 2021, this is the very first time you and I have met each other. This is it. We've never met each other.
We've never met face. I feel like we have. Yeah, I've been on it.
Only on Zoom.
I've been on Zoom. I've Zoomed with you a few times. I've Zoomed like everybody else does. That's why I'm tired of Zoom. And plus, I was finally able to get bail. and actually get out in public, and I took social distance too far, and now I don't know where I am, but it took me forever to get here. I needed a chopper.
This is where the real talk happens, Rod. This is where the magic happens.
Who is clearly Leo and I are guests, but who has been the most famous person you've had in your dungeon? I mean, a basement.
Great question. Is Gino
That's living.
Gino Vanelli? Let me think.
Gino Vanelli.
Wow. He came down
That's
here.
a blast. I like Gino Vanelli.
I've had, all the greats that you know and love, from Bob McKenzie to Ron
Bobby
McLean.
Margarita. Ron McLean.
Jack Armstrong made me come to his hotel lobby. So
that's big time Jack, though. That's big time. We're not in his category.
And I was telling Leo, he liked his Great Lakes beer so much that I gave him
Jack
this beer.
Likes beer?
Yeah.
Who would have known
he
that?
Said, would you mind biking over, because he knows I'll bike there anytime. He said, would you mind biking to the lobby and dropping off more Great Lakes for me? Because he loves the IPAs.
Yeah.
Like, he was going nuts. By the way, Rod, since this is your first visit here, you're not leaving without some fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery.
All right, I might start drinking it now. I might pull a Jack Armstrong.
If you do want one, I have cold ones in the fridge. Like, I'll run up.
There. How long is this show? About 6 hours?
Yeah, it's about 6 hours.
Perfect. I have never, Leo probably... There's only one time that we ever were on the air and we were snapped and corked. And it was that post-game show in Golden State at the NBA championship.
Yeah.
And also, I think we also drank beer on the air with Kyle Lowry. That was okay, though. There's nothing wrong. That we were snapped, but we were
there's a post-game internet show.
Yes.
And so... everybody was there because the Raptors just won the championship. Everybody was there, and we had already been how many beers in? I mean, we just.
We're drinking live. We're drinking wine while this podcast. I don't even know what this show is.
I'm not
there
sure.
was Jonesy and Smith, and of course Jack, who was absolutely pissed, and he's like throwing f-bombs back and forth.
Yeah.
But we had just won the championship, so screw it.
It was. I don't even know how we're on the floor doing post-game interviews, and we got like a case of beer. I don't even know how that got there.
Kyle brought it.
Kyle did.
Kyle brought it out of the locker room.
Oh man.
Oh, it was a classic.
But what a night, man!
I got a great picture. We got that picture with us standing there holding a Canadian flag, center court with beers.
Yeah. And then we went to a party afterwards.
Oh boy,
which that went late, and I had a 6:00 flight. I had a CFL game later that night in Edmonton, thanks to our great bosses who thought, okay, yeah, he could do both.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So I was pieced while I was on the air, and then I was hungover while I did a CFL game, which is great.
I had a hard time making my noon flight. I was struggling. But here, this rivals one other time. The Charles Barkley game in Vancouver.
Yeah. But no. Mike wants to ask questions.
No, I want to hear about this. I would be fine if no one heard my voice
This story
again.
is legendary. This story is legendary.
Let's hear it.
And
Give
it mostly centers around Leo, I think. So Charles is in town.
No, remember what happened? So the night he's supposed to come into Vancouver, right? And we're I don't know, we're at the usual Yaletown pub, whatever.
Century Grill.
And I tell him, he's supposed to come in, but he's late. And I left a message at the hotel where we were. So all of a sudden, some guy at the bar comes up. Are you Leo? I go, yeah. You got a call. I go over the phone and I pick it up. He goes, bitch, you still there? Right?
What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
He goes, okay, I'm coming down.
Leo.
So this is a noon game in Vancouver, Houston Rockets, Vancouver Grizzlies. So he's coming down at midnight, right?
Yeah.
He's just getting there.
And
so I'll let you go from there.
We were a few ales in.
Well,
we just actually, I should point out that Leo and I had visited the library earlier.
We always go to the library.
And then we had a mass at the church.
Holy Rosary.
Yeah, and then we went out with Charles. Yeah. And anyway, this thing ended. It was a noon game. Noon game. I think we went to bed with not with Charles, but Charles. We all went to bed. We didn't sleep with Charles.
It was spring forward. So when I put my head on the pillow, I believe it was actually 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
And what time was our production meeting?
9 a.m. So we got there anyway. This was one of the few times I was surprisingly fresh, and the Grizzlies were such a bad basketball team, but it was a great atmosphere. Vancouver people are incredible.
Yeah,
they should have a team there again. Anyway, Charles comes out and he's in warm-up and he looks brutal. And Charles
sweating bullets.
He was doing the rise, I think, the night before. And he was at the rise sweats coming. He gets, I think, the first time out, and he is sweating like he just ran a freaking marathon. And I'll never forget, what's the guy? David Duchovny and Tia Leone. Well, they always sat beside us to the front row. So I thought he was pointing over at him, but he goes, hey, and this is the first time out in the game. Hey, folks. And all the people are like, it's loud in the arena, but they can hear him. Hey, you see those two guys right there? You see them? They kept me up all night. It's so Duchovny's like looking over. They look at everybody's laughing. Then Charles.
He dropped. Okay, Houston would lose this game. Except for he had like 30 and 15 or something. And then I forget, our Sandra Neal, our sideline, was ready to do an interview with him after the game. He pushes her out of the way.
He jumps over the table.
He sits down between us, puts his arms around us, goes, haven't seen you boys in a while.
Haven't seen you boys in a while. Yeah, that was, oh my God. That was, okay, so there was two times.
I had,
you know what? I don't work for them anymore. I'll tell them. You know what? I actually drank every single night when I was on the air. I was a much better announcer. It's maybe why I'm not doing it anymore.
And this is where I learned the business from.
Yeah. No,
well,
my mentor. Those were the two times that we. But if you're going to go out all night and you're going to stay up all night, something's wrong.
The liver I used to have.
Careful. Don't use that term. I got something wrong with my rod. No. Anyway, that was those were two times. You had to go out late and you had to not be at your 100% best. We had a CB excuse, a Charles excuse. Right. He's a beauty, man.
I was wondering how long it would take to get some impressions, Charles Barkley impressions there. By the way, then again, I don't want this episode to have much of my voice on it because I really was hoping, and it's turning out my hopes are coming true here, that it's just you two just shooting the breeze, chatting it up. I'll set the table here. I'll just share with you that I got a couple of notes. I'm glad you started with farts because James wrote in and said, thankfully, we can't smell the studio. Or will this be? will it be on the day?
At the end of this,
smell-o-vision.
Hey, at the end of this, you can say it's real or not. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because this is all vicious, rumors and lies and slanderous comments.
Brought to you by Palmas. Brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery.
Palma Pasta. So
brought
quickly.
To you by Ripley Funeral Home and brought to you by Febreze.
By the way, I mentioned the beer, but you're also leaving with a frozen lasagna. It's in the freezer. I got frozen lasagnas for each of you to bring home.
I'm not leaving, man. I got to stay here now because I don't know how to get the hell out.
If you really cared, we'd be eating one of these right now.
Yeah. Where are they? With all the
breakfast lasagna.
So everything's in there. It's all frozen with all the bodies you keep down here? I'm only kidding, Mike. It's a nice place.
No, I was hoping you'd be busting chops.
It's nice. It's nice. Nice.
You know, Rod, you do know I'm here because there's no room in this house because I have 4 freaking kids, and every room is taken up by a kid
You
or
got 4?
two. 4.
So there's a commonality between
All
the
of
three of
us.
us. We have 12. We have 12 kids. We
Okay.
each have 4. Hey,
Yeah.
look at this. Hey, the Foreskin Podcast.
Now, what I did, and I know Leo has not done this, Rod, the foreskin front.
I meant 4 kids.
Hey, this is going down the shitter quick, isn't it?
I meant 4 kids.
After 4 kids, Rod, did you get a vasectomy?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, so-
actually, you know what? I had a vasectomy after 3, and the last one suspiciously looks a lot like Leo.
By the way, you know, my son Sammy has 2 dads. Because
Yeah,
we
that's
still
true.
don't know who it is. It's either Rod or me.
No, Sammy was
Immaculate conception.
Immaculate conception at my wedding reception. So that
Which was a great. It was incredible because I wasn't having sex with my ex-wife at the time, so I still don't know how it happened.
yeah.
Other than Rod smiling, and my son
Rod was
Sam
involved.
looks very much like Rod.
Very
much like
ugly.
Rod.
So Sammy's a beauty too, and he calls me dad. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so what is your breakdown, Mike? You for kids?
All right, so I did boy, girl. So I got a 20-year-old boy and then a 17 and almost 18. In fact, later this month, she'll be 18. Shout out to Michelle. And then I got an 8-year-old son and then a 6-year-old boy.
Ooh.
I mean, sorry, 6-year-old girl. Actually, can't even keep track when you have 4 kids. My youngest is Morgan. a girl.
We're in the 2020s
Yeah,
now.
doesn't matter
It doesn't
what- it's
really
all
matter.
good. It's all good.
Gender doesn't matter.
Genderless time.
Right, and then I got the snip. I said 4 kids and out. Peace out. I'm done. And I hear you do the
Jeez.
same thing.
I
Rod,
got to get
so.
the snip. Then.
Is-
I haven't been snipped yet.
You haven't?
No, I was just talking about it the other day.
Are you kidding?
No, I guess it's time, huh?
Yeah, you're only
Jeez.
85. You're a good 85 though.
He's a young-looking 85.
So yeah, Leos are all about the same range as mine too. Like mine were you only have sex 4 times, and every mine was every 18 months. It was
Yeah, but-
Hey, we're not shooting blanks.
yeah.
What you two did, which differentiates you, is you guys have 4 kids with the same woman. I divided it 2 and 2 amongst.
There's
2.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
Yeah,
I mean-
you go from.
I got rid of.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change a thing.
and I wouldn't either. And you played man to man for a couple of years, then you go to a zone. I got a zone now.
But when we took the kids to Syracuse, we kicked their ass.
Oh
though, didn't we?
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Took my boys a few years ago we went down for a weekend to Syracuse to see Leo. With Sammy was down there, and we had a great time. That was awesome.
Yeah,
My
we
boys had
played
back
them hoops on the court
At,
we
Mello
schooled
Center.
them, schooled them.
at Mello Center.
And then Rod wanted to get in a fight in the stands in the game. It was
yeah, that's
unbelievable.
true.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, some guy called Leo a pussy.
Is that right?
Well, it was actually a different terminology I can't use here. And so I go, what did you say? And then I goes, what did you say? And
I turn around, I'm sitting there, and I look
go,
at Rod's glaring at this dude. I go, dude, you can't fight here. I know people. You can't do this.
So the guy,
Oh, by the way, F-bombs are allowed on the
but
program.
the guy
just so you
said,
know.
he keeps saying, the guy keeps calling, like I keep hearing him dissing Leo because all we wanted, they took up our seats because they put their coats
They put
there.
their coats on one of our
And
extra
so he keeps
seats.
calling Leo these names. And I'm going, this is my guy. And then all of a sudden, this is classic though. I'm just shooting him glares and I'm going, F off, whatever. And we did have a few beers. And so
Just
about
a
the
few.
first quarter, they go, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's game. Syracuse Orangeman legend, Leo Rautins. And so Leo has to stand up and these 2 clowns behind us go, oh shit. Oh shit, that's Leo Rautins.
And then my security guys go, is there a problem there?
It was funny.
You guys mentioned you each have 4 kids. You do have something in common in that you have athletic children. Like, I got a note, and I was going to do this myself, but since it came from Mass, I'll give him credit. He said, ask Rod about his son in the Brewers organization. Congratulations, Rod Black, that your son was
Tyler!
drafted.
Yeah, well,
That's amazing.
You know what's so funny is that I think it's not a coincidence. I think that these kids were around sports. I mean, it's they clearly get their athletic endeavors from their mothers.
But I got to tell you this. This is what people don't know, and this is really cool. So this guy is like Mr. Canada, the broadcaster, right? I don't
sure.
even know how he keeps track of his life because when he was doing everything, it was like insane. And I'm going, so we're in studio, and like Rod's like just shows up because it dropped Tyler off over here. He's taking Brody over here, and
Or my wife.
He's going, dude, can you get an Uber for one of my kids? So I'm getting an Uber for one of his kids because he's got to go pick up another. Like,
Yeah, it was crazy.
the fact that, like, with knowing his schedule, right, which is very few people in this country had a schedule like that.
Right.
And he was the world's greatest dad. Was incredible. Like seriously incredible.
No, you know what? I got to tell you, I learned a lot of my father's skills from this dude here.
Slapping him
as much as no. And we kill each other with freaking trash talk, but this guy was an incredible father. I saw that a lot when my kids were young, and then coincidentally, Leo's son Andy was an NBA player, a professional basketball player.
Right.
I think
exposure.
People being around it. My kids, these kids were always on the floor. I said the other day to somebody about the days when Leo and I were doing games at Air Canada Centre at the time. Even before that at Skydome, and Andy would be out there with Steph Curry and Seth Curry, these little guys shooting. And by the way, they were good, but you couldn't see at that time they were going to be pros by any stretch.
Right.
Andy was by far the best player of the bunch there, and the security guards, and they would dribble all the time. The team wasn't that great, and so you could do whatever. Your kids always came, and there they were, and the security guard would come over and go, "Hey, get your kids off the floor." And we go, "Hey, you get them off the floor. You're
I'm
security."
not doing that.
And they all became pros.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like it's like because you realize you're around these athletes, they're just like you.
Yeah.
So you have and I always say when you can be around it, you can feel it, taste it, touch it. You can believe that you can be it too.
Yeah.
So I think they all were.
That was when I was doing the story. But when I was doing the Jays games, that was for sure for my two oldest. They were at the games all the time. Tyler was at every single game with Gus, and they'd sit in the perch. I do the games with Tabby, Pat Tabler, and they'd sit there. And I always people go, "How can you bring your?" I was notorious for bringing my kids to the games. First of all, because I'm really cheap, and we didn't want to buy tickets. But secondly, is because I thought it was a great environment for them, and I said, we almost had an unwritten rule: bring your kids.
Yep.
And so I brought them everywhere, but especially baseball. And I think being around that environment taught Tyler and Brody, who's on that path too, that it was showing the kids that they are human, but also showing the work ethic of those athletes and how hard it is to get to that point.
And you know what's cool? It's like my son Sammy, he's kind of social butterfly, right? So I get to the arena and I go, "Okay, you sit here courtside. The guys are shooting around doing their thing. I got to go in the media room. We got to do a meeting, whatever, grab a bite." I come back out and I go, and Sammy go, "So-and-so's not playing." I go, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, yeah. And like Brian Colangelo will be sitting there going," I go, "Sam," I said, Brian, did you meet my son?" He goes, "What do you mean meet him? We've been talking hoops for half an hour." Like Maurizio Garardini.
Wow.
Sammy's talking to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant tells him he's not playing tonight. It's like,
it's just, same thing. They're not playing. What are you talking about? It's so, it's hard to. Breaking news before tonight's game: Sammy Rautins is reporting. But I will tell you, having the kids around it.
It was cool.
It was cool.
It's
Still
really
is cool.
I'm his official family photographer, by the way.
He takes a lot of pictures.
I take all his family pictures.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I mean, was it just the other day, Matt Devlin's son
Same
was
thing.
drafted.
Same thing.
Deal.
Exposure. Congratulations
but
to
what
Luke.
are the odds? Like you would each have a son drafted into a major league sport, different sports, but then you got Matty Devlin, another different sport. That's 3 different sports. And now I'm thinking of even like a public address announcer at the Air Canada Centre. I'm thinking of Andy Frost. Okay, his son
Andy Frost
is a Philadelphia Flyer, right?
Well, it goes back to what Rod's saying. Exposure.
Maple Leaf goal scored by number 93, Doug Gilmore. I used to work with Andy way back when. Yeah, you know what? It's
in
exposure.
Winnipeg.
Yeah. 92 City FM. Wicked.
Wow. I just did. So I just, not to talk about me, but I just dropped episode 107.1, which was like a massive chronology of the history of Q107. So there's Andy's on that episode, and we talked a lot about Psychedelic Sunday. But yeah, he like you came from Winnipeg.
Yeah. That was the rock and roll station. I think they
That's
probably
how
said,
we met,
Brother Jake. Yeah, we did.
Well, I want to ask you, when do you remember your first meeting?
Yeah. First of all, truth be known, and I think Leo knows this too, is that I aspired. I wanted to be a basketballer. I was a hockey player, but I wanted to be a baller. My favorite player growing up was Leo Rautins. Actually, it was Martin Riley, who many people don't know.
Marty was one of my idols playing for Canada.
And so I wanted to be this kind of Marty Riley. But I was really into hoops. And in 1980, and I really wanted to be the next Leo Rautins, but I couldn't shoot, dribble, or dunk. So that didn't work. But I did go to a couple of national camps, and I remember seeing Jay Triano in a corner once, and I went, oh, man. I can't shoot. I was a good ball handler. Then I saw Leo, and I guess I gravitated to broadcasting. So fast forward to 1983, the year Leo was drafted. The Philadelphia 76ers are are going to play an exhibition game in Winnipeg, at the Winnipeg Arena against the Denver Nuggets. And the people in sports in Winnipeg at the time weren't into basketball, but they knew I was, and so I was going to go down. I went to the airport to see Dr. J, and Dr. J was my hero growing up. I wore 6 all the time. And who do I meet? I meet Leo coming down. He was the first guy down. I do an interview with them, and
that's because I had to get down and get the bags.
Yeah, the kid from Keele Street.
Kid from Keele Street. It was going to be his first professional game in Winnipeg. And so Dr. J also, another side story is that I had got a phone call from a person that I worked with that they had a nephew who was in hospital, was not doing well. His name was Jay, as a matter of fact. And he was, his hero was Dr. J.
Yeah.
And I thought, he said, is there any chance maybe you can get an autograph or whatever, because Dr. J is going to be at this game. So anyway, that was in the back of my head. But I meet Leo, and then nobody else is coming down, and we're kind of hitting it off. He does this interview, and I told him the story about Dr. J as well. And so Dr. J, he brings Doc over. Doc does the interview. It was one of the few times I probably was really nervous doing an interview, besides interviewing Leo.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm almost shaken, but Doc does it, and he's just that cool Dr. J, and, he talks like that. I'm here.
Good to see you, Rod.
Good to see you. Leo, my guy Leo. So he's a Canadian here. So anyway, at the end of the interview, I don't know what I had the balls to say. I said, Doc, there's this kid who's not doing well in a hospital in Winnipeg. He's looking at me. Doc looked, and he had the big fro, and he's looking down at my eyes. And I don't know what he's thinking. I thought he's going to strangle me. Yeah. And I said, his name's Jay Howard, I believe his name was, and I gave him the phone number. Right, I gave him the phone number, and I thought maybe he'd call him. Anyway, fast forward, Leo goes off. That's the day we became friends. Leo had a big night against Denver. I think Denver won, though. It was like one of those typical exhibition games, 155, 153, kicking hand away. Dr. J doesn't play, and he gets his shoes.
His inserts didn't arrive.
So he gets pilloried in the press. They bring Dr. Julius Serving. He doesn't play. It was nice to see Leo, but anyway, I get a phone call 2 days later, and it's almost muffled tone. This kid goes, Rod Black? I said, yeah. It's Jay Howard calling. I said, yeah, I just want to thank you for getting Dr. J to come down and visit me.
Wow.
He got in a cab.
Wow.
Went down to the hospital. And I think a lot had to do with Leo and Doc, but he went down to the hospital, brought him a basketball, brought him a jersey, and I think maybe a month later, this young man died. He wasn't a kid. He was
That's Doc, though. People didn't realize how cool he was.
And I was really upset with the press especially after that. I was upset I didn't get to see Doc, but so that day was the day that Leo and
Doc didn't play. I played.
Yeah, and that was the day I met Leo, and we've been honestly inseparable since.
Well, I was going to say you were destined.
Unfortunate for him.
Destined to be buds because you're there at the first game of Leo's professional career in Winnipeg of all. It was like kismet. Like, what are the odds that Leo's going to make his and it was preseason, but NBA debut in Winnipeg. What are the odds of that?
I remember when CTV at the time was looking to see. So they decided I was going to be the color guy, right?
Right.
And I was going to host.
Well, yeah. So and then they were looking for a play-by-play, and so I actually did these fake auditions, fake games with a bunch of different guys, and all of a sudden I got a call one day. They go, how do you feel about Rod Black? I go, are you shitting me? Are you kidding me? I go, yeah, right. Yeah. I go, yeah, let's do this. And we had we had more fun than any two guys should have.
Yeah, we had
doing
a great
job.
Time. I was expecting to host the games because I remember there's a big splash by CTV, and Leo and I had done a couple of games previously. Because he was going to go to the Olympics in '92, maybe with Lithuania even. But we did some pre-Olympic games, and the team never made it. That's when Eli Pasquale, I think, broke his leg,
something like that.
So it was terrible. And anyway, we had done. I'm on a trip with Plan Canada overseas in a place called Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, and I get a call. And it's my boss, Doug Beforth.
Yeah.
He goes, Rod. I said, and I'm going like, whoa, am I getting axed here? What's going on? He goes, listen, we need you to come back and go to Secaucus, New Jersey with Leo to do a rehearsal. So they brought us into Secaucus, the NBA headquarters.
Yeah.
which was really bizarre at that time.
Yeah.
And we only did it, I think, about a half an hour. They liked us right away. We did a Houston Rockets.
I did the same game with like 20.
Well, yeah.
I could have closed my eyes and do color.
They said, Rod,
game.
we really like you. Leo, you're even better than that first time of the 8. But you know what's so funny about those days? And then I hosted the expansion draft with Bob Costas in the NBC studios. And during those times, which was really, really, when you look back at it, David Stern was a great advocate for Canadian basketball. Great
really
man.
was.
He was there. But a guy who was in the background, who was helping us out, like getting scripts and doing things and just like making sure, getting coffee even and making sure everything was good, was Adam Silver.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was the deputy commissioner, not even a deputy commissioner. He was an assistant to David Stern at the time.
A lot of guys. Remember Tom Corelli, Todd Harris, all those guys. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. But boy, those were those early days. And then getting a chance to work with Leo. I wish we did more because we only did really maybe 30, max 16 on each team. But
it was great because we were doing Grizzlies and Raptors, right? So we do a Raptor game. We get on a plane. We go to Vancouver. We're like once a week. We're in Vancouver. And it's hilarious. You get to we always stay at the Pan Pacific, right?
Yeah.
And I
have a routine.
Say I'd come in with a taxi, we pull right up, and the guy would go, "Mr. Rautins, can we grab your bag? Rod Black will meet you here." So like I wouldn't even get out of the cab. I'd take my bag, they check me in, and I go meet Rod wherever he was.
We always had a tradition. We should have been sponsored by McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
We're lucky to be alive still after eating so much fast food. We always had a pregame, and sometimes
we needed sponges in the morning.
Yeah, we had to go to McDonald's. Have McDonald's breakfast before a game.
Remember Calgary?
It was minus 40 out,
and the arena the arena in relation to where we were staying in the McDonald's, was like a 40-minute drive to the McDonald's. We had to paid a cab to sit there and wait while we ate because we'd never get another cab.
Because we always had to do it.
Yeah, we couldn't miss it.
And then again, the Vancouver ones were just so much fun because the NBA at the time made us always come in the day before to do all these interviews, which were tremendous because we got a chance to
drive go-karts,
golf, whatever. And it was always social, but it was hard. It was hard, except for the Charles games.
Yeah.
But what was fascinating is that because the teams weren't good at the time, Mike, like they were still fledgling. And honestly, a lot of people didn't think the NBA would survive in Canada, even in Toronto. I honestly thought Vancouver might have had a better chance early on. The way it was,
they blew it. They blew it.
But so everybody, we're thinking, oh, man, this is it. If it is a novelty, what a novelty. Anyway, we because of all the times that we had been in Vancouver, every single game, we always thought that like, let's stretch it a little bit, and plus the different time zone, right? Let's stretch it a little bit. But the beauty was, we always got a chance, because the teams were good, to sit and talk with the stars. And they would bring in Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
They would bring in, that's when our friendship with Kobe Bryant began.
Yeah.
And Leo, a lot of people don't know that Leo knew Kobe when he was a little boy. But Kobe, we used to call him Mr. Black because of the Reservoir Dogs came around at the time. And he hardly played. But we got to always interview the stars.
Yeah, because we'd be set up at the hotel, and they always stayed at Pan Pacific, right? So he'd come in, we'd have this room set up, and here come Shaq, here come Kobe, here come
Michael, Scotty.
Actually, Michael's the only one that didn't come in interviews.
Well, we had to get Michael. Remember, they had the van outside.
Yeah.
But we'd have all the stars of the stars would come in because the NBA wanted to sell those stars to the Canadian audience.
Yeah.
Well, you can't sell Jean Tabac. Like, you gotta sell something.
We did. We tried to. Big Sean. Starting
we
center,
almost got him a suit
night.
deal. We almost got him a suit deal.
One of the nicest guys, by the way, Jean
Tabac.
A great guy. And he was a decent player.
Yeah. The Big O. Remember that?
Oh, the Big O. Ollie Miller.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Oliver Miller might have been one of the most naturally gifted basketball players. He had Magic Johnson hands.
Hey, remember that one night he kicked Alonzo Mourning's ass, right? But here's the problem. In pregame, he's ordering like 6 Big Macs into the locker room. In the locker room. Could you imagine that today?
I don't want to speak. Oh, hell, I'll just say it anyway. Leo and I are on the charter. I rarely went on the charter. Leo was on it a lot because he was doing the Raptors. But when I got on, it was convenient. So I'll never forget. And you get on the charter with the Raptors. Even today, it's like unbelievable playing. You get and you look, and it's like, it's a gluttonous feast, like set for Roman kings. You come in and there's this massive cart full of fruit and pizza and stuff, and you go and
We were looking for the wine cart.
Jack. Yeah, we did that once too. So then you go back, you go, this is incredible. I go down, and Leo's going, take it easy. I'm going like, well, take it easy. This is great. Because halfway through, the meal comes, right? So there's like you get all this food to get on, then a meal.
Right.
So one night we're coming on the plane. This is one of the first few times I see all this food. It's good, healthy, pro basketball food. Oliver Miller walks on with 2 Wendy's bags and 2 Frosties,
and not little bags, but Wendy's shopping bags. Right?
But I got to tell you, I love the guy. He was such a good player, such a good player. Yeah. And he might have been one of those guys who might not have been able to play skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had he lost a lot of weight?
But the funny thing is, you ever see him? I saw him on TV in the background of a game. He was actually skinny. I go, dude, imagine if he just did that a few years earlier.
Yeah,
what was the joke around? It said he went on a water diet and Lake Ontario dropped 3 feet or something.
Like Charles said, I was in the Houston Rockets dressing room one time. And Charles says to Stanley Roberts, who was rather girthish too. And he goes, "Hey, dude. Stanley, I got 2 words for you. Should use a lot more." And Stanley goes, "What? I'm full."
I love hearing about those early Raptor teams. And like, of course, we were playing in the Dome. Like, I just love hearing stories about, NBA at the Sky Dome. That's quite
You know what was cool about it?
What?
So you had 1 million seats in that place, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't realize that when you go through at the Sky Dome Hotel at the time, you walk by the lobby, there was an elevator in the back. You go back that elevator down to I forget what level, and then you switch to another elevator and it takes you to the field at the far end. So I tell all my buddies, meet me at the Sky Dome Hotel.
Yeah.
Like, one day I literally got 20 guys.
Yeah.
And we go down, we get on the field at the far end, and I said, okay, you're on your own now.
Find
your own.
seat.
Wow.
Find a seat.
Yeah.
And that's the way it worked. But it was opening night, actually. Opening night.
We did both opening nights, remember?
We did it back to back.
And that was the Nets, right? New Jersey Nets.
New Jersey Nets.
Yeah. And then we flew right to Vancouver to do their opener at home.
But that day, that morning, I'll never forget, because Canada AM, basketball, again, it was novel, but all the networks, especially CTV, had a major commitment, so they had us do Canada AM live at 6:30. But guess who was the guest star? Was Dr. J.
Wow.
He came on the broadcast.
He came on the broadcast,
Wow.
and I'll never forget this. I don't know why I said, like I always think of Dr. J, that great movie he makes from one end, palming the ball like a marble, coming across and coming on the other side. Well, if he doesn't mimic that, and he's going through his head what he was thinking about, and he was such a cool dude. That was I can hardly remember the night, but I will never forget that night. It was like, it was an insane night.
And both of these crappy teams, the Raptors won, right? And then we went to Vancouver, and Chris King got the winning tip in. Nice. Grizzlies won. It was funny. After the game, we went to this party in Vancouver, and everybody's there. It's like all kind of, and then Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. All of a sudden, Stu Jackson, the GM of Vancouver, standing there, and Linda Carter goes up. She whispers something in his ear, right? So I walk up to him right after. I go, "Hey, that's after one win, dude." You got Wonder Woman whispering in your ear.
Did you guys see that HBO miniseries about the LA Lakers and the Jerry Buss?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well,
what's it called? Showtime?
Yeah, I think it's called Showtime. Yeah.
Like,
it's really good.
There's a lot of controversy. I know Jerry West has debunked a lot of that, but I mean, basically, I think a lot of that happened.
Well, there's always going to be some.
You got to dramatize it a little bit.
Exactly. So
it's funny. My Google Home is going off. It's trying to tell me where I can watch that show.
Hey, Google, where does Mike hide the bodies?
I bring that up.
What's that noise?
But I will tell you another thing about the Sky Dome, which it was the stars. And it was crazy. Here's a couple just announcer boys. We're doing games, we do scores, we have fun. And right around us, like, because of all the movies that were shot at the time, like, consistently we'd have Samuel L. Jackson right beside us, because we were different. The national games, they put us right with the fans. And so Gene Hackman, I'll never forget him. And it was the Bulls game, as a matter of fact, the one they beat the Bulls.
Yeah,
and I had some licorice here, and I said to Gene Hackman, I said, "Do you want some?" He goes, No. And halfway through the game, I look over, there he is. He's chewing my licorice. But like Prince, because he was.
Oh, he lived on the bridal path.
Well, yeah, that's right. He was married to
Vancouver. I remember Vanessa Williams, all these people.
All the stars that were there. And it was like,
wow.
It was awesome. And it was not made for basketball, but it was. It was special.
You know what I remember? So Raptors were playing the Bulls, right? So I was staying at the Skydome Hotel. So I got my boys with me, right? So two of my boys, Michael and Andy. So we go down, and I go, all right, the Bulls are about to do the shoot around, right? And I go, guys, you can't go in the court. Let me ask if it's okay. So I walk over to the PR guy, and I say, hey, listen, any chance my boys can kind of hang out here? He goes, we can't do that. We can't do that. All of a sudden, I look on the court. There's like Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman. And guess who's standing in between all three of them? Andy. Like my son Andy. And I just bought him this brand new pair of Michael Jordans, right? And it's just somebody, Michael Jordan signing his sneaker. And then all of a sudden you go, whoa! He's screaming. I'm going to get thrown out of here. This is crazy, right? So I apologize to the PR guy. So look, I didn't know he'd go there. So he comes running back. And then my other son, Mike, I don't know where he is. Like, he just takes. So all of a sudden, Michael Jordan.
I don't know if you know he actually played for the Bulls. He did. You not see that extra number on the board?
Exactly. So Michael Jordan starts walking towards where I am, and I go, hey, Mike, I appreciate that. He goes, oh, those are your guys? I go, yeah. That's your son. I go, yeah. I go, by the way, there's another one. His name's Michael too, and he'll be when you guys go to the bus, because the bus came into the arena. So the funniest thing is, Michael, after the shoot around, my son's waiting, and Michael Jordan walks up, and my son goes up to him, and he goes, oh, hey, Mike. You should have seen his face, right, and signed his hat or whatever.
That's
but
awesome.
the stuff was just so cool back then with the kids.
Well, especially for you, too, I think. It had to, because you were not far from being a contemporary. You were just out of the NBA.
And my dream was
played
to play
against Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
You defended Michael, the greatest player who ever played.
But my dream was, so there were so many rumors for years when I was playing that Toronto would have a team. Remember Ted Stepien with the Cleveland Cavaliers? They said the Raptors are going to have a team. And so I'm thinking, maybe this is going to happen. Maybe this is going to happen. All of a sudden, I can't play anymore, and it happened. So this was kind of the extension of that dream. Wow. The fact that we could do this and be a part of it was really cool.
And we had the World Basketball Championships as well as a precursor.
Yeah, right before.
In 94, which was insane because it was at Maple Leaf Gardens, and I'll never forget. And we were also cheering for, our lone Canadian, kind of the star in the NBA at the time, was Rick Fox.
Who was he was 2 years old when he left the country.
Kind of Canadian. But there was this little guy on that team who had this crazy little crew cut, like almost army haircut. And both Leo and I and we had heard about him. We saw him.
I had seen him when I was still playing. He
and it was like, but he wasn't like, he didn't have the vibe yet. Didn't have the vibe. Yeah. And then we saw him, and his name was Steve Nash. Mm-hmm. And that was his coming out party at that 94 Worlds. And then the next thing, hey, he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And a lot of people, a lot of Canadian kids should look at that. I think a lot of Canadian kids should have looked at Leo when they came in, the guys after in that midsection of the golden era. Now this is a golden era, but they should really thank Steve Nash because he made kids believe.
And I said the same thing about when the Raptors drafted Damon Stoudemire. Had they drafted a 7-footer, who can relate to that? Who can relate to some dude swinging off the rim at 7 feet tall?
Right.
But you drafted a Joe Blow, guy, if you walked down the street, you wouldn't know who he was, right? That was Damon Stoudemire. And I thought that was great for a new audience to see, hey, look at this guy. And Steve Nash, same thing. If you walk down the street, he'd be some kid bouncing a ball. This is a guy who becomes a 2-time MVP. So every kid playing a game of basketball, forget all these other guys.
Right.
But when you see a guy like that, you go, maybe I can be that. Maybe I can be that. That's why I was always shocked that in the earlier years, we didn't have a lot of great point guards because you had this idol, this guy, Steve Nash. Look up to him. I said multi-MVP. And to do that, become MVP in your early 30s, that's just nuts. Nuts.
Yeah. And because he was a late bloomer. And remember, we were in Phoenix. I will never forget that meeting. And you actually gave Steve a real good pep talk because he was down. Yeah. We went out with us a couple, and Steve was a good late night guy. He went with us a few times, and he's so Canadian.
Resume.
He's so Canadian, and he's such a nice dude, and he's a smart guy. Not so smart hanging out with us, but he was a little down because he was in Phoenix. He was behind Kevin Johnson and Jason Kidd, KJ and JK,
right?
And he's playing third string, and he's not getting any minutes. And Leo said, "Hang on, bide your time." And I think KJ left. Steve got more time. Then they made the deal to Dallas, which then changed the trajectory of his career.
Tell all young players, life in the NBA can change overnight.
Yeah, Leo helped. I think that was a real good conversation you had with him.
Amazing. Now, when I tweeted you two were coming over here, I got a reply right away from Scott Moore, who said, you guys are two beauties, he says. So
well, actually, we're half beauty each, so we're one beauty.
We make up one.
Scott Moore was right there in the early years for both of us. One of the great producers in Canada. Yeah. So many great producers that we've had, but
we've been very fortunate. Yeah,
Scott was one of those guys. Ground floor at Sportsnet, ground floor at CTV. I worked with him a lot, and he should talk about beauties. Man, he is a beauty.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He is a beauty.
Well, he's had a couple of visits down here.
Oh,
too,
has he?
So, yeah.
Was he wearing a Speedo? No, because there's actually I don't give a shit. I'll tell you. Anyways, I think there was a time we were on a water slide together with Scott Moore. I recall that. I believe in Saskatoon, where he was going to meet his future wife, and he was wooing her, Becky, at the time.
Yep.
And then I saw him come down the water slide wearing his little banana hammock. Ooh. And I'm wondering, dude.
Not a good impression,
dude. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But he's a great dude.
Running back to Saskatoon,
and he's very successful at what he's done. But you and I have been lucky, Leo. We've had
great people.
So many people around us. Every one of them, like we have had no douchebags or dickheads working around us, except for us.
Yeah. People had to deal with us. Other than that, it's all good.
So we're gonna get the lay of the land in terms of everything going on with TSN, Sportsnet, Leo, Rod. We're going to get the lay of the land, but Dave Starkey sent in a nice note, so I want to shout him out. He says, you are two of the best in sportscasting. He wants to know, Leo, are you going to bring back Twine and Wine soon?
Twine and Wine hasn't disappeared, but it's going to be definitely some more Twine and Wine. But you got to remember, I've done 500 of those. It's hard to come up with a new shot, right?
That's true.
And the crazy thing is when
I got one for
monster.
you. I got one for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you wear a tux, okay, and you go on stage, right, and then you insult Will Smith's wife. You throw a basketball. You come over. Will Smith smacks the shit out of you, and then you drink wine. That has never been done before.
I'm speechless on that one. But anyway, Twine and Wine was a lot of fun. So I definitely
Dave wants you to bring
I want to see that. I want to see that back.
All right, so let me see if I get this straight. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But okay, so Leo Rautins, you used to be on Sportsnet and TSN.
Yes.
Okay. And at the time when you were on TSN, you'd get to be sharing the airwaves with Rod Black, because Rod, you've been a TSN. You were a TSN.
What that's
guy
like? You know what that's like? It's no, seriously, no. Wait. You're gonna appreciate. You might appreciate this, but it was like coming home. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter what you're doing. I go in the studio with Roddy, and it's like coming home. It's like it's like you're on a big couch, and I'm with my boy here. It's great.
Yeah, okay, so I agree. Except that couch started to be a little
Here you
smelly,
go. Here he starts again. Here he starts again. See, I say something nice, and once again, you dim my light.
Well, don't.
Okay, so Leo,
I'm trying to make you shine.
I don't dim any of your light. Your light's too large, man.
Leo, your second visit. Of course, I'll never forget that first visit because it was after the double overtime win in Game 3 against the Bucks. Okay, so that's like forever tattooed on my cranium. Okay, he came over that next morning because if we don't win that Game 3 in double overtime, which we almost blew, we don't win that Game 3.
He didn't go. Truth is, he never went to bed.
Yeah, I know. You remember?
But I was here. I was here.
Coffee. He was here. But the second visit,
he slept on your lawn.
That's fine.
With the dead bodies.
Leo can sleep on my lawn anytime. You kidding me? But the second visit, that's when we talked about the fact that you were no longer going to be on Sportsnet, but you were still on TSN. We saw you on TSN all year. But then we find out not too long after, I don't know the timelines anymore, but we find out Rod's not going to be there anymore. So Leo, what was your reaction like when you found out Rod Black was no longer going to be on TSN?
What's it like when you find out your brother's not there anymore? So it was it was a hard day. It really was. Yeah. When he called me, and I go come on, stop dicking around here. Like, seriously,
the night before.
Yeah,
I had known for a while I wasn't going to be returning, so I said no. I just want to make sure. I kept it pretty hush hush because
you did.
For a long time.
Well, look, it didn't leak. It didn't leak to me. I saw your tweet about it, Rod, and that's when I phoned you.
And again, I harbor no TSN and CTV in particular. I had a great time there. I think Leo would probably agree. I overstayed my welcome there because I really wanted to leave probably a year to 2 years earlier. I liked it. I loved working with Leo. I love working with my partners, Dwayne Ford and football and the stuff I was doing. I mean, I was working in the toy department. I just wasn't completely fulfilled there. I don't think I really wanted to get into something else, and I still am, pursuing a couple of those other
So he
opportunities.
just left me.
No, it's not. I just realized that happened before, but then a lot of other dominoes started to fall in place. And as sad as and shocked as I was at the way the stuff fell out, I was honestly really happy, and it was nice to have the opportunity to do it my own way, to go out my own way, and that's what I wanted. And I kept it. And I was shocked it didn't get leaked either. For months, I knew for months, but I wanted to go out and I wanted to travel around and see some of the places that I had done and do some CFL. And then, of course, I didn't get to do another NBA season, but I honestly had 25. And I also said to Leo, I said, that's not, the last time we're going to be working together. I'm convinced that we'll be doing games again somewhere, somehow, doing something. Maybe it's a podcast.
Maybe it's visiting me in my basement.
Yeah. So exactly. And I'm calling games now. And for the Scarborough Shooting Stars, I'd love Leo to come in and start doing some of those too. I mean, I love doing those games because I love one thing, both of us, is that we love being at games. And I was kind of missing that. I was in studio a lot. I love being game day.
When we call games together, we had so much fun.
You just got to start a podcast so you can get the press pass.
Yeah. So again, we're real cheap bastards too. But no, there's nothing like game day, and we like doing studio on the road games, but there's nothing like game day. Yeah. Being down, seeing the players on, those moments 2 hours before the game, with forging great relationships with people like Nick Nurse and Jonas Valanciunas, who I still think is one of the greatest, classiest athletes we've ever been around. Alex McKechnie, being around the coaches, being around each other. That's how you. That's what I miss. I miss that. I don't miss the other shit.
Right.
Yeah. No, we had like I said, all of it was so much fun.
So Leo, when you're doing your Raptor games on TSN last season and Rod's not there, like you said there, it's just like your brother's missing.
I mean, and it's now again, I want this kept in right perspective because, like I said, it is my brother. So not having Rod was crazy.
You still move on with other teammates.
Kia Nurse and Kate Burness. I mean, they're tremendously talented. They're wonderful people. They're a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what was really cool. I don't know if you even saw this. So we were doing the first game without you, right?
Yeah.
And Kate,
I don't think I was watching.
Okay, so and Kate, who's taken Rod's place, right? She says, "I want to say we need to acknowledge Rod." And I'm going like, because I wanted to, but I'm not the host. And Kate, without any problem, she said, "I go that's really cool."
Kate's a tremendous broadcaster.
She is, but that was, to me, that spoke a lot about her. And
it's a classy move.
It really was, and like I'm going like, wow, I love that, and that's one of the first things we did. We acknowledged that Rod's not there. Because we'd worked a lot with Kate together.
Wish
right?
I would have seen that.
Yeah.
No,
you should.
You had told me.
Yeah, and I thought that was really special.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because, like I said, it's the first time in, 26 years that you and I weren't sitting next to each other. And we'd done some crazy shit on here.
Well, no, there was one time that you weren't with me.
He puts a picture of me.
He didn't show. He got a flight from Denver. I don't know how you can't get to Denver for the next day. There was some snowstorm.
I got some points out of that.
We're 2 hours away from game time. No Leo. 45 minutes, an hour. He's still stuck on some tarmac somewhere. And then our producer at the time, Michael Hammernay, great dude, the Hammer goes, "What are we gonna do?" I said, "Well, here, get a picture of Leo." So we got a little stick and we put it up, and I can tell you, Leo, that was one of the nights I thought should have been nominated for a Gemini Award. You were
I had a lot of compliments.
You were the
that
best you were ever.
Yeah, people said that was really good that night.
But yeah, just say, but trust me when I say I miss the people and I miss the game, and I really miss this guy. But again, life goes on.
Well, it's like I always tell people, and people say, "Do you miss playing?" I don't miss playing. It hurts. I don't miss playing, but you miss the hanging out, the camaraderie, the people you're hanging out with, and that really is the case. You know?
Yeah. How many times? I cannot tell you how many times. And we'd always go out after the game, usually with our kids, usually taking our kids. And when they started to get to the drinking age, that's when it became a little too much. We always went out before the game and after the game, and I can honestly say we did. Over 1,000 games, easily over 1,000 games. And I never, ever went home, even after a loss, and when a team, because you get invested in a team, I never went home in a bad mood. I always said, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah. I can't wait for the next game. Right. And I can honestly say that doesn't happen in a lot of the other broadcasts I did. Yeah. You know, some nights you carry it with you. And I go, you know, hey, that's what happens when you're with your brother or your. You
should have seen this dude so Raptors. We're doing studio for Game 6, the championship game in Golden State, right? So all of a sudden it looks like the Raptors going to win it. We just look at each other. His eyes were just watering.
Yeah, well, you know what? I had allergies.
But you know what it is, because
terrible allergies.
Had an onion.
But see, people got to understand that. Okay, we were basketball guys before basketball was anything in this country. I grew up wishing all this, dreaming of all this. So all of a sudden, it's not that you're a Raptor guy. It's not that you're a homer. It's just that this is what you dreamed of well beyond just the Raptors. And all of a sudden it's happening. And like, we're just looking at each other going like, holy shit.
I think I was probably even more emotional for him because I knew that. And I also had that kind of dream, but I clearly didn't live it as a player. But to know where it came from, to know that it was probably on a tightrope for a while, especially when the possible sales existed and you never knew what was going to happen. We thank the Bittel family, the Tannenbaum family, all those people who had dreams, because we wouldn't sit here without a championship. And this unbelievable, I still think, and I have a lot of hats in sports, there is no more popular sport in Canada, sorry, hockey heads, than basketball. There is no more popular sport. People go, oh, what about the ratings? No. There's no sport is played more in this country than basketball, because everybody's played it. And no sport is followed more, especially by youth, because you can't measure mobile devices. You can't measure that. That's how kids are watching.
The NBA understands that, and they take advantage of that, and that's why it is the most popular.
Yeah, we had a good hug that night, and then, of course, we went down afterwards, and we both get stopped by this frickin' security guard.
Is it the same guy who gave him a sign?
Same dude.
Holy shit.
Same dude. And by the way,
actually, he did. So what happened, and I told the story.
He was an absolute a-hole.
Yeah, but so he did. So Rod went down. We got separated.
Oh, that's
he
right.
Went down. So he went on the stanchion at the basket, right? Rod went on the right side. That's where Masai dealt with the same guy. I went on the left side. Now this is something I told
that
Rod.
guy did come to us. That guy did come to us first, and he denied us because my producer didn't have it hanging around his neck. Oh, and we didn't have those armband things, and we were rights holders. So I'm kind of arguing, and he was just being a dickhead. I said, dude, seriously, I got a suit on. Clearly, we're going there. And I don't know. I probably said something to him, but he wouldn't let us go.
Yeah. So I go now. One of the things I love doing is I go to arenas and I hide. I don't show credentials, and I just try to, hey, what's up? I just keep walking. I don't want to see how far I can get. Sure. If I tell you some of the stories,
you know, then they go, hey, look it, it's.
But he's really tall.
Hey,
so he looks like he belongs.
Look it, it's Drago. He can come in. Let's go.
You know what? Yes, I see it.
It's Drago. Or it's. Hang on, that's Steve Kerr's older brother.
Okay. Two things. Yeah. I've had NBA. Okay, what's the guy that does the let's get ready to rumble?
Michael Buffer.
He comes up to me at the NBA All-Star game in Los Angeles. Walks up, talks to me for 10 minutes. He goes, hey, Steve, great talking to you. Right? I've had guys sit on a plane with me say, we get off the plane and go, I didn't want to bother you, Steve. Have a good season. I get that all. But Rocky comes out. I'm playing in Italy. And I'm walking down the street, people are screaming, thinking I'm Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
And I couldn't convince them I wasn't. So there's a lot of people that went home with Dolph Lundgren's autograph.
I will break you.
I just signed it. I go, what am I going to do? I can't convince you otherwise. Right? Yeah, I'm Dolph. Here you go. Sign. But it's crazy. But I was going to say something.
So you're talking about coming on the court.
The security, yeah.
Okay. So again, my game is doing that. It is a game, and I try to get on the floor. And if I tell you the stories of how I got in arenas, sometimes it's mind-boggling without showing anything.
Right.
So I walk on the left side of the stanchion, and the guy looks at me, hey, what are you doing? And I walk right by him. Not a word. And I don't have no credential, just a suit on. And then I hear later about the whole thing that happened on the other side, right? Between you and then
I did see it. I saw it. But again.
Okay, but here it comes down to this.
It was completely
a white guy in a suit. A white guy in a suit. You don't ask me a question. Yeah. Right. A black guy in a suit. All right. All of a sudden, this is an altercation. Give me a break. I mean, it all comes down to the color of your skin.
The guy was an absolute.
He was an
dick,
asshole.
But there clearly was a racial, not overtone to that. That was completely.
Yeah.
And even Leo and I said we didn't know anything about it, but there was Masai seems so subdued for a guy who you would think, based on his journey and everything he went through, and to get there, to know him as a scout, to this skinny little scout,
what a shit moment to experience,
to build, to get this great trade, and then we both said that was, and we thought maybe he's overwhelmed. I thought. Then we kind of found out and went, oh my gosh! And I really felt.
I remember
bad
that Kyle came to get him and that hug. Like you could just something was like we didn't know. We just but like what a
they
shit
stole
way to
that
end
moment from him because that is you've reached the top of the mountain.
Bullshit moment.
And that's your moment, and then you have to deal with that bullshit.
Yeah, that was
take the
bad.
shine off the.
And it goes to show you too, like probably how classy Masai is. Who, by the way, is one of the most fierce competitors we have ever encountered.
Knocked his ass out.
Should have knocked. No, I think this was that was in an alley or underneath. He might have.
Yeah.
But to kind of keep it off the cuff for a while, and then it's got out of control. And
wow.
I also did not like the fact that the way that carried on with these court cases.
Yeah.
People were also sitting there going, well, no, this it's not the security guard's fault. No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
No.
He was on he had an agenda, and that was it.
And Masai probably wanted that just to go away, but it did. It spoiled his moment. And hey, maybe touch wood that moment could happen again, especially when they make the trade for Kevin Durant this week.
Well, wait, do you know anything, Rod? You got any sources?
I will tell you one thing. I've said this for a long time. Leo never agreed with me. I always thought KD would come here.
Well, he loved Vince Carter, right?
He loved the Raptors and Vince Carter,
right.
and. Do I think it's? I was kind of joking about it years ago. This is the first time after he was leaving Golden State when he left Golden State just because he didn't get along with teammates, and one teammate in particular. And had he stayed there, he would have won more.
Sure.
But I thought then that this might be a possibility, but it was too fresh after that Achilles and everything else. Do I think it's a possibility? Yeah, I think it's a possibility.
What say you, Leo? Because this is
I think there's other teams.
Here's the thing, and I've said this. I've said this prior to Kawhi coming here, and all the other rumors subsequent to that Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have never done anything for this franchise that compromises the long-term well-being. They have a plan. They don't share the plan. We don't know the plan. Mm-hmm. They keep everything tight, but they have a plan and they know what they want to do. And what they ultimately end up doing, whether he comes or not, if it doesn't fit into the long-term plan, and that means who you're giving up, what you're getting back, the whole thing. If it doesn't fit, they won't do it. I think Scotty Barnes is the divining rod in this. If this is a deal out there, I saw that Sean Marks, our buddy, and you see the video with Sean Marks and Masai chatting, and Woj was there. That people make too much of that. General managers always chat, but now you can look at that. I do think if I'm Sean Marks, I want Scotty Barnes. And if I was Masai, I'm not sure. Right. And that's where it comes down to, again, what's the long-term goal that you have with your team? And Masai, not knowing what that is, I could say this. They won't compromise that.
The other thing, though, he is a special K, just like that Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
People can say what they want. We don't win an NBA championship without Kawhi Leonard.
The only difference, though, he's 8 years older than the Kawhi that the Raptors got, and he's also coming off some serious injuries. So
and an inability to play, not from his point of view, with teammates, because he had teammates that would not share the rock. And the other thing, I will say about him, he may be the most unstoppable player in the NBA.
Nick Nurse would be an amazing coach for him.
He's the most unstoppable player offensively in the game. I really do still believe that.
Why? Because he's 7 feet tall, can shoot from anywhere on the floor, and he's got a handle like a point guard? Is that why?
But wouldn't it be something?
He's a unique talent.
I would have, if we talked about this 4 months ago, I said not a chance, but I do think there's a possibility. I really do.
You never know. You never know.
Okay, stay tuned. Okay. Do either of you guys smoke weed?
No.
No smoking weed.
I'm not a fan.
No edibles?
No
cannabis.
No.
Okay. So
why is that a sponsor?
Yeah.
Why? Because
I got people that need some if you have it.
I have.
All right. So here, okay. Here's what we're gonna do.
I do like the occasion. I have a lot of cocaine and oxy, but no.
Rod Black, this is a toque for you, courtesy of Canna Cabana. They got 100 locations across the country. They sell cannabis and cannabis accessories.
Okay, so I didn't. By the way, you never said would you ever try it?
No, it's all good. Not everybody smokes weed. Not everybody enjoys the edibles, but those who do know, you got to go to Canna Cabana. And Leo, this is an ashtray. If there's somebody in your life who smokes weed,
Oh yeah, I could
here's
probably
Canna
use that
Cabana
for
ashtray.
a few people in my life.
A few of them.
I don't know if you know anybody. Rod,
It's a
I saw
nice
you.
toque.
And shout out to Canna Cabana again. Go sign up for their Canna Club, Canna Cabana Club, cannacabana.com. Great sponsors of the program, as are Sticker U. StickerU.com is where you upload your image and you get your stickers, and it's great quality. And Rod, you have grabbed the Toronto Mike sticker. I'm sure Leo's had a couple
Where
in
do
the
I
past.
show this? Where's your camera?
Where's your camera? Actually, it's right up
yeah.
here. There you go.
There it is. Oh, it's over by Jimmy Hoffa. There it is. There it is.
Shout out to Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
But that's a Sticker U StickerU.com sticker. That's a Toronto Mike sticker, Rod. I
That's
look forward to
really
you
nice.
slapping that on the back of your automobile.
All
That'd be
right, I
wonderful.
will put that on there. It's good. It's just right size because I have a very small automobile.
Oh, and I want to.
Among
Okay,
other
so
things.
Ridley Funeral Home, wonderful people there. But Brad Jones, who's the funeral director there, I'm watching you two. Brad Jones. What a
Brad.
huge Raptors fan he is. He's a huge fan of you guys both, and he loves the Raptors. So shout out to Brad Jones, who has his own podcast.
Gonna come see you one day, Brad.
You know what? I'll get you a discount.
Hey, Brad,
Okay?
Brad, I gotta come see you too. Just I hope it's not before Leo. Okay, that's all. Leo's going first. Leo, come and visit you first, Brad.
Oh,
and
what?
Mike too. Uh-oh. Okay, now Mike's giving out free. Hang on, Brad. Mike's giving out free
Brad.
caskets. Well,
pretty much.
he's-
Like, I'm worried the casket
free
won't fit
free
for Leo here.
cremation urns.
Ridley
is this?
Funeral Home wants Leo you to have this measuring tape. You never know if you have to measure something. Make sure that the casket's going to be big enough for you.
Hang on.
Centimeters, Leo, centimeters.
Oh boy.
This is absolutely.
Oh,
Are we
boy.
What are you measuring
actually?
there?
When are we going to start the show? When are we going to actually start?
I want to know. I know this wasn't your choice necessarily. I'm trying to understand, Rod. Like, was it basically you were there so long, you were making big bucks at TSN, and this is the way of the world now? These large salaries need to be weeded out. But was it part that and part that maybe you wanted to do something different? Like, I'm just wondering, did you get the tap and they said time to go, and then you just negotiated like when?
I would say there's a gray zone there, kind of. I would say. I think that was it. I mean, you saw what happened with all the networks. It's still happening with Bell
No,
and
it's
Rogers.
the way of the industry.
Yeah, and you know, from what I understand is, there's a certain dividing line. I negotiated a contract that they signed, right? And I certainly wasn't going to take any pay cut. And my contract was for a significant amount less than Leo.
My contract says you can work with
Yeah,
Rod,
I was-
and I signed it. Okay, that's it. That's it.
I signed
You get to take big money to do
Lunch,
that.
I'll
and,
tell you
lunch
guys.
and Rod.
I signed a $5 million contract. They didn't sign it. That's the only thing. It was $5 million. It was $1 a year for 5 million years. But no, I think that had a lot to do with it. And
Sure.
yeah, and
But there's no shame in this,
but
right?
no,
This is
But I
the-
would also say that again, I loved every day that I was doing it. But there's other loves and other things I want to do. And you start seeing you're in the back nine of your life. I play a lot of golf. And,
So I hear.
I want to go get some birdies, some more birdies. And I want to do other things. And I want to do, there are other games and other bucket list things that I really want to do, including production. I work with North Star Bets and Toronto Star now, which I'm loving doing that stuff. We're
Amazing.
just going to start I think some sort of video podcast called the Rodcast. Leo and I have talked about doing a podcast, which this is the first time we've actually been together, been able to do it. I would like to do that.
When was the last time you guys were together?
Been a
I
while.
haven't seen him. We were going to get together and do some heavy drinking a while, but he's been busy. We've all
I go to Florida a lot and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But you know what's
and we had the incident and the jail term. So he was in one cell block, I was in the other, and it was
we had a lot.
yeah. Anyway, no, but those are things I want to do, and I want to do stuff where I'm the boss because frankly, I don't like bosses.
Well, you've earned it, right, buddy?
Yeah.
Like, shout out to North Star Bets, North Star Bet. That it's great that you can be like a brand ambassador there
Yeah.
and host programming there, and that's the Bitov. That's got a Bitov connection too.
Yeah.
So you mentioned them with the Raptors.
Jordan,
earlier.
who's the publisher of the Toronto Star, I think we're all really proud of Jordan and that whole family. And We were very close with John and what he did with the Raptors, bringing Isaiah Thomas at the time. Great family. And you know what I love about that family more than anything? Is the charity work they do in the community.
Yeah.
The charity work they do. And that's,
Well,
and I
shout that
also
out.
want to
That's
do more
important.
charity work. And, you know, so right now, this is a good time to tell everybody
I
that
tell you, I got 4 kids.
I'm available for bar mitzvahs. I'm available. I can host birthday parties, car washes, hot tub parties.
Would you host a bar mitzvah in the guise of Charles Barkley, like the whole time, just doing the Charles?
Yeah, except shalom. Yeah. I would do anything. I'd do anything for Charles Barkley.
You know what's interesting? In light of like this conversation, like Rod, you know, changing, and you get a tap on the shoulder, whatever. So,
right
when I didn't go back to Sportsnet, and so what happened is,
I remember you told me.
So,
and I was shocked.
No, but what happened was, so there was a announcement that Sportsnet announced their crew. TSN announced nothing at the time. Sports announced their crew. Twitter, I watched my funeral on Twitter because people assumed that I didn't see my name with Sportsnet. TSN didn't make an announcement. So everything was, oh, dude, like for 24 hours, I watched my funeral. It was I told you that. Remember, it was the weirdest thing ever.
I don't know if I was wrong. I remember you told me a few weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
And I just said, really?
But the whole thing was
Really?
crazy, right? So like, how many times can you, I always say this, like, when it's too bad when you see these great funerals, too bad if that person couldn't have seen that when they were still alive.
You
But
were
I'm
alive?
watching this thing for 24 hours and I couldn't say anything, right? I couldn't say anything. And then finally, you know, whatever, TSN finally announced the crew, and I tweeted what's that? What's the guy said? My end has been exaggerated. Mark Twain.
Oh, yeah, Mark Twain.
Reports of my death have been greatly
Yeah.
exaggerated.
I just tweeted that but it was a bizarre thing to watch your own funeral.
Well, yeah, I think it's again. You and I always said we're this gravy. You know, this extra.
Yeah,
we're always in overtime.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, I will be 60 this year. You're over 60.
I'm not as old as you. Don't give me that garbage.
And
Don't give me
I
that
still
garbage.
think if we were in the United States, and nothing against the American broadcast, but I think they value their announcers and their experienced broadcasters more. I do think experience matters. I mean, I got in the business when I was really young at 18, but I had to gain that experience. I do think that there is a movement adrift in Canadian broadcasting, not just in sports, but in news and everything, that it's all money related. And I do think that a lot of the people that have moved into certain positions just haven't been there and done that. And that's fine if the bottom line is, showing numbers and showing impressions, but at the same time, you need to have been there before. And I think that's just, we're finding that everybody's becoming a broadcaster now, right? You can become a broadcaster or a podcaster, but it's just different with our networks now. And again, this is not just sports. This is news. A lot of great people. Trust me, I have no pity party here. I've enjoyed everything I've done. If it ended tomorrow, I still want to do more. But there are a lot of people out there, more talented than Leo and I, who lost their jobs, who were cut based on salaries.
Yep.
And you know what I love is the fact that they are able to, talent will rise out and they're able to carry on with what they want to do. It's too bad that a lot of the network executives who've never, ever been there before are making those decisions.
100%.
Well, these cable companies don't make enough money. That's the problem.
Or make enough money so that their cable doesn't work for
Rod's upset he had tickets to see The Weekend on Friday night.
I was actually I was a warm-up band for a weekend. It's called Thursday. And it was but I didn't even know that. I mean, hey, I can understand. I don't know what happened there. Even my bell service went down the night before. I don't understand.
Oh, that's a coincidence, I think.
Yeah, and it's like I love that meme though. The one they got the picture of Rogers Center. It said error 404 center.
That's her.
But how much do you think that day cost? That had to be $1 billion.
Well, it might be more than that because it might cost them the whatever the permission from the CRTC or whatever to do the merger with Shaw.
How many-
Like this could
how
be
many-
$1 trillion mistake.
But how many people that rely on it? How much money did it cost them?
no, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot
Interact
of
was down.
banking went down.
Just
everything.
Interact going down, you're
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
even that concert alone, I can't imagine, they got to refund those tickets. Holy smokes. But I was actually down the street. I saw Roger Waters at the Scotiabank Arena
did
that
you?
night, the Friday night. Yeah, but I was biking over. Yeah, so the Friday and Saturday, Roger Waters played Scotiabank Arena. Yep.
So
It was just the Dome. So just the Dome was shut down because I guess they're all Rogers in there because Rogers
wait a
owns that
second.
building.
Was Weekend going to play
the Dome?
Dome? Oh,
yeah.
right,
So the
okay.
Dome was the only
Yeah, because
place
Budweiser stage would have been
Yeah,
up
well,
and
they had
running.
Keith Urban was there because I
Yeah,
biked
yeah,
by
my
all
kid
those,
went and saw. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But think
So,
about all
just
the
Dome.
Interact, everything that
Oh,
went
yeah.
down, and mostly, I don't know about you guys. I had some friends. I'm going like I know Leo when Leo ghosts me, that's fine. But all these people got I'm
Right.
important phone calls. Why are they not calling me back? What did
Right.
I do? What did I got to go look through my time. Did I offend them? Did I butt dial them? What did I do here?
Well, you do butt dial because I got a couple of those.
Yeah.
so.
And I just wanted to make sure that your
Jimmy
butt
Hoffa was
butt
here?
was vibrating. Yeah.
Okay. So is it safe to say, Rod, I'm trying to get a vibe on this. You're still setting things up for what you want to do next, but you're enjoying this being retired here. It looks
I wouldn't. I've
Wouldn't
never.
say-
There's another thing. That's a
Yeah.
misnomer. I never retired.
right.
So I would say I reloaded. But
You're taking a pause.
Yeah, and I'm looking. I'm frankly
Sure.
really looking at the broadcast industry. I want to still do my stuff with Torstar, or do some writing, North Star Bets,
Broadcasts.
broadcasts, podcasts,
Amazing.
whatever that is. But I do miss games, and that's kind of why, Nico Carino and Lowe call, good buddies. When the Scarborough Shooting Stars were involved, I wanted to get involved. I didn't in any way, shape, or form.
Amazing.
I love calling those games. I don't know if Leo, that's EBL has been phenomenal.
Yeah, they've done a great job promoting that.
3,000, 4,000 people. They had J. Cole for the first few games. Drake's
And this is
there.
all on CBC Gem, right?
CBC Gem.
I've watched a couple.
Yeah,
They're fantastic.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic product.
Yeah.
Like these are Jalen Harris plays.
Right.
Lucas Nogueira played the
No,
other day.
the CEBL, their management group, going from Mike Moriali, John Lashway. John Lashway helped the Raptors get
John
started.
Lashway
right?
was there when we were there.
and so
PR
like
guy.
they've done a phenomenal job because I really think a domestic pro league is critical for the growth of the game in the country.
Could you imagine having that
Oh,
when you were around?
Exactly. And the great thing is you need one in the winter, but having it in the summer, all the guys that are playing somewhere can come back and work out and play, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great deal. Make a few bucks.
They
and
can go to
you
Italy or Turkey in the fall.
You expose the game so kids can go to the game and go, hey, I can do this, right? So
Amazing.
we need a winter one. We need a winter alternative.
Bigger winter one. They have one, but they need a bigger one.
It's not. It hasn't been done right, and you do need one. But that's the difference between the NBL and the CBL is management and organization. They're unbelievable.
Yeah. It's fun though, man.
I'm glad you know, man. I'm rooting for you hard. I don't know if there's any plans to grow back the mustache. Like, is that on the agenda?
The porn
at all?
stash? What do you call that?
Like, what was your reaction, Leo, when you saw him one day and his mustache was gone?
It was a long time ago though.
Yeah, but it's
You know what it is? A lot of people don't know this. Can I tell them? I'll tell them. If you look closely at Leo's right eyebrow, his right eyebrow,
it's there.
that's my mustache. So Leo, we shaved his eyebrow off one night, and he needed something, so I gave him my mustache.
Yeah, he did.
And so he just dyes
so
it.
giving, man.
Yes,
You're a sweetheart.
I gave it to Borat.
And Leo, can you confirm maybe you can't. You'll tell me right now, or maybe you'll punch me in the nose. But will you be back on TSN Raptors broadcast next season?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right.
I'm Leo's agent. I can tell you, yes, definitively he will.
Unless I get a tap on the shoulder.
He signed a multi-year deal
All right, here's a loaded question.
for Great Lakes Brewing.
Where will you two be on September 1st from 6 to 9 p.m.? Because there's going to be a big TMLX event, that's Toronto Mike Listener Experiences, at Great Lakes, which is in southern Etobicoke, not far from here. We're going to have a huge shindig to celebrate 10 years of Toronto Mike. September 1st from 6 to 9 p.m.
Dude, I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. You can't go that far ahead.
I said it was a loaded question.
I don't know where my laundry is. So like
I'll remind you the day before.
Hey, call me the day. Call me the morning of.
I'll call you the morning of September 1st, 6 to 9 p.m. You're invited. Palma Pasta will feed you. There'll be free
Nice.
Great Lakes. You'll get to drink your fresh craft beer.
Nice.
You'll love it. So I'll remind you the night before.
Leo and I are both available September 31st if you want to do that.
Couple of quick hits before I ask you. There's a question I want to ask you on the way out. But I want to know, what are your thoughts? And Rod, you got a son drafted by a baseball team here. What do you guys think of the home run jacket? I said last year when the home run jacket showed up for the Blue Jays that this is a fun thing when you're winning, but when you're losing, this is going to be awfully cringy and embarrassing. And I feel like that's the vibe now when you hit a homer and you lose 4-1, but you got the home run jacket and whatever. What are your thoughts about the Blue Jays home run jacket?
I loved it when it came out, and because they had a vibe.
Well, we went on a big run, right?
Yeah, and I think it's become traditional. I think they could temper it down and have to tamper it down when you are on a skid. Yeah. Leo and I know, I don't even have, he will say the same thing. We are big old school believers. Look like you've been there before. I don't like pimping. I don't like posing. Now I know, hey, especially in Latin America, they have changed baseball by the way they celebrate. Remember when they first started? People, that's Jose Bautista threw the bat.
Right.
One of the greatest bat flips ever. Now everybody does it, and it's become part of the game. And it has added color.
It's passion.
It's added color, but it has to be done at the right time. And if it's not done at the right time, and I think of Joel Embiid with the wings, people got on him. But hey, it's a big basket. When guys give the signal or whatever it is, everybody who's a professional athlete, I am sure, they have their pose or their moment, and it becomes their highlight reel material. But when you're losing, it doesn't resonate quite as loud. So I would just say temper it down a bit.
I think some of that's just embarrassing. Personally, okay, I'm a 3-point shooter. I hit a 3 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Like, who cares, dude? This is what you do.
Or the goggles.
Goggles. You want to give me the 3 after you hit the game winner? Hey, I'm all for it. Go for it. Or you got a 7-footer, dunks the ball, and he's got a pose. Yeah. Dude, you're 7 feet tall. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Yeah. So I get, like I said, there's a point of celebrating. There's a point of understanding who you are and what you are. And there's a point, like you said, act like you've been there before. Act like, you know what? It's like
it was meant to be. Yeah. Like, don't look like a surprised.
No, Jack Donahue was great. When I played for him, he'd say you're getting frustrated. The guy's in your shit, right? You're having a bad game. Don't let him think he's got anything to do with it. Yeah. Right? Same thing when you're going. If you knock down 7 threes in a row, don't act like I do this shit all the time.
I saw a baseball game the other day, and a guy posed it in the first inning. Careful when you do that in the first inning, and
it's a regular season game.
And it's a regular season. Be careful what you do. I saw the Seattle Mariners, their little dance yesterday. I love that. You know what? They won the game. They can dance. You can celebrate when you win. Right. When you do something special, I'd still like to see a little bit. And I know I'm sounding like an old fogey and an old school guy, but there's something to that, man, because you might be seeing somebody's hand in your face or in your crotch or
well, that's the difference too. Yeah. Today you don't really, but I mean, I'll tell you what. Back in the day, if you did some of the stuff, someone knocked you in
or
your
a baseball came at your head.
Or is a guy you go drive through the lane, someone's gonna put an elbow in your face. That doesn't happen.
It happened to Bautista. Remember with Agor?
Yeah,
sure.
Smacked him, and so that stuff does linger. Not as much because it's done so prevalently now. And by the way, everybody has that. Everybody has some sort of home run jacket, chain, whatever it is. They have some sort of celebration. In college baseball, it says this jump and elbow smash. Right. They did it a few years ago. The Dodgers did it. Remember, I think it was Bellinger who actually ripped his arm. I think it was Bellinger, or was it Seager? I can't remember. They went for the elbow smash, ripped their arm apart.
Right.
Just be careful. Have fun. Hey, sports is still supposed to be fun. I think you can have fun in different ways. But the jacket is still pretty harmless. It's not like they're showing anybody else up.
Yeah, but you look at, if you go on internet, you go to YouTube or Twitter, whatever else, you go to AAU games. It's the more you can embarrass an opponent. Yeah. A guy trips. It wasn't your move. He trips, right? Oh yeah. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's screaming. You block somebody's shot. People are going crazy. So what? It's a block. But it's the whole idea. I want to embarrass. Yeah, I want to embarrass you.
I like this. I love the silencer at the end of the game.
Right.
When you see your last shot, and you're in the road, but not in the middle of the game.
No, right. And it's but again, it's about,
you would have ripped somebody apart.
No, it's about humiliating, embarrassing people, and that's where I think there's you don't need that. That's not sport anymore.
Now, Rod, I know you're a big golfer. You golf often. I'm curious what you think of the new Live tournament.
It's business. I will tell you. I think it's real. It is a big threat to the PGA Tour. There's no doubt. A lot of people thought this was going to be like the XFL or USFL. It's not. It's real. They get their guys. I have a real hard time where the money's coming from, the blood money that's there. Now, having said that as well, you don't just look it up. Just look up the backing of this group of where they've come from, what they've done, human rights violations. Now, they also, it's just not that golf tour. It's also horse racing. There are a lot of Saudi connections. There are teams, soccer teams that are owned. There's big money. And I say all of that. If they got more players and it was an attractive tournament, would I watch? Yes. And if somebody offered me a lot of money,
and that's a lot of money,
I would take it. And especially guys not like Dustin Johnson. I was a little surprised by him, but that's a lot of money. He's getting more cake than anything.
Sure.
But a guy like
Thibaut
Mickelson, and if you look at their age, the birth certificate, their earning power over the next few years, if someone is throwing you a boatload of money,
hard to say no.
It's hard to say no. But it is a threat, Mike. It's a threat, and I don't know where it's going to end with the PGA Tour. I feel bad for the average fan every week who can't see the stars of the game. There will be more defections because money talks.
Whew, and it's, that you mentioned the ethical issue, and then you got to look. We just celebrated an Olympics in China. We're going to be going nuts for our Canadian men's soccer team.
You want a comparable thing,
Qatar.
Mike? If people talk about the bad money in crypto, for example, right?
Right.
You think banks don't launder money? You think drug dealers aren't banking? I mean, seriously, like the perspective of all this stuff gets really whacked out. Yeah. There's blood money everywhere.
Yeah, there is blood money everywhere.
We just had an Olympics and a World Cup in Russia, where
Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014, it was a showcase, billions and billions of dollars spent,
and we all watch. And if two men decided to kiss each other because they love each other, they could be arrested.
Yeah, which is
think about that.
When you think about our world right now.
You and I would have a lot of problem in that environment, right?
Stop. Okay, stop. This is not the time or place.
Yes, it is. No. Come on, I love you.
I love you
Rod's
too.
being serious. I've seen this.
I know, but I know, and Leo is a very thoughtful, philosophical person on a lot of the world situations. I am Ukrainian by heritage. I am every day horrified by what's going on there. I had been there with the Canadian military years ago, so it's very close to my heart.
And being Lithuanian, my parents lived it, experienced it.
Yugoslavian people remember when all that went on, and you wonder, how could it happen? I was in Lviv a few years ago, and I said, the city reminded me of Barrie. It was like there's Radio Shacks, and there's McDonald's, and the same thing. Architecture a little different, more colorful. Kids the same way, obviously a different language. Same thing could happen. And you look at what's happened, the atrocities. We're about 130 days into that now, which is so sad. And I do think there is a fatigue that has now run into our daily scope. Could follow it every single day. Well, the same crap is going on there every single day right now. And we're throwing a lot of money. Everybody's throwing a lot of money into the war. People say, well, you're not in the war. Well, we are, because we're throwing money into the war. I hope it ends peacefully. I don't know if it's going to. It's one of the worst situations.
It's unimaginable when
unimaginable. And we have our world. Here we are. We're having fun talking the world of sports, and it's a nice reprieve. But having said that, to have that happen in a modern world that we live in, is utterly incomprehensible to me.
I feel so bad for the children. Okay, this is it's a goofy thing. But, Florida is wacky, right? So July 4th, it's just fireworks from morning till night for 4 days. People are just in their backyards. They're blowing off bombs in their backyards. And I'm just listening to that environment, right? My dogs are terrified. And I could imagine if a kid didn't understand what that noise was, I'm going like, imagine living this, and that wasn't firecrackers. That was real bombs that could blow your house up or kill your families. Living in that environment every day.
When I was in Lviv, there was the Crimean. It was after the Crimean, the whole Crimean takeover thing that happened back then. Right. Just after, and you could hear that gunfire and bombs. There was a war going on when we were there, and I was so crazy. I was in Chicago the other day, and same thing. I was looking out and saw fireworks everywhere, and I thought, imagine every day in Ukraine, people are waking up to that, and they see that, or at night, and we're having fireworks to celebrate independence,
Right.
and freedom, and every night they see that, and I know the Klitschko brothers. I used to do a lot of boxing. To know the courage and bravery of these two great heavyweight champions who never fought each other, and now have to fight for their survival, and you know it's. I always looked at it. I never wanted to politicize anything that we've ever done as in sports, because we do sports.
Right.
And people go, oh, just talk sports. Just shut up and dribble. Hey, well, we're also human, and we also have hearts. And especially when you're emotional about it because you have friends or family that are over there. And you know every single day this is continue. This could be a 5-year war until they squash this place. It's sad.
horrible.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
It's beyond
It's
horrible.
horrible. It's really horrible. And you know, I'd like to think there's a peaceful. You think diplomacy? You'd think they could talk this out and you know maybe make some sort of deal, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out.
But think about it. Even if you make a deal, you've destroyed a country. You're like Okay, I was in Greece. I went to see Andy in Greece, right? And you know, I took my youngest son up to the Parthenon, and I'm going, this is incredible structure that was destroyed for no reason and had to be real. Why? Now you're destroying. Your city's being destroyed.
And
Everything
it's still
for
destroyed.
what? Yeah, but for what? For what? What in the long run? What happens?
Yeah.
Right? It's just.
And how do you reason with a madman?
You can't.
Well,
You can't.
That's the issue. That's the biggest issue I have is that you know I'm. You know what the solution probably would be, and we
Dexter.
and people should also know. They go, oh, this is the worst since Adolf. We clearly weren't around that time. We have also had other, by the way, mostly mad men through the years that have, you know, started stuff based on conquest, based on racism, gender declassification, all of those things, human rights atrocities. By the way, also they're going on in other parts of the world, and with equal horror that's going on. That's what's going on in Ukraine.
Yeah.
But to think in a common sense world that we live in, we've just gone through a pandemic where we all had to shut her down and think, and logic had to prevail. That would also prevail somewhere else. And I don't know. I don't know how you deal with this person, this regime, this ideology that you know they want to get back to where they were, and that Ukraine should be Russian. It once was. I think we're, you know, I certainly don't want to go too deep on it. I don't think I'm saddened right now by we've gone so far that now it becomes fifth in the newsreel.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, by the way, it's worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
It's worse.
And then to bring it back to sports, you have a guy who will probably end up as the NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader, ahead of the great one, you know, Brantford's own. And if you look at his Twitter profile picture right now, he's with Vladimir Putin.
I have a hard time with that. Anybody who says they don't, and anybody can also say, hey, you know, it's sports, and you know, but I do have a hard time with that stuff. I think
agree.
Any other person, any logical person.
Well, it also doesn't fly with all the other sanctions and whatever else. It doesn't fly. I mean, if he's got to be a part of that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's, you know, I like to sit there and go, well, you know, there's a freedom that exists for athletes that, you know, you can do. It helps the world. Maybe we can, you know, like we're going to get, by having a voice like that, maybe if he came here and start, you know, was aiding the situation and explaining the situation more. But he's an athlete. He shoots hockey pucks and he skates fast.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened at Wimbledon where they banned Russian athletes. Do I think bans work? Are the sanctions working right now around the world?
Apparently not.
Still bombing. I have a hard time. Anyone who aligns themselves with this ideology or this madman,
Price should be paid.
They're you know what, or they're just illiterate, and they're because this is common sense. I mean, you can see it's right in front of your eyes.
Right.
It's right in front of your eyes. What exactly has happened? What's been said out there?
Yep.
What's been said? What has been done? Why? There's no rhyme or reason to why, you know, unless you go back. You love him so much, go back.
Thank you both for not sticking to sports. For a sec. 'Cause you mentioned the shut up and dribble. Like nothing pisses me off more. Like Jesus, no. Thank you for not sticking to sports.
We should also, by the way, we should also mention.
Yeah.
I have so many Russian friends, and so many people here in North America who are Russian, who are appalled by what's going on. Absolutely appalled. I am sure that I don't want to take a side that says, "Oh, it's all Russian." Like that's one thing I also hate. It's all Russia. No, well, it's not. It's not. And it's all Ukraine. It's Russian. Oh no, it's Ukraine. Ukraine started this. Russia started. No, it's a war.
It's an invasion.
It's an invasion.
A war suggests
Well, yeah, but I mean, what's
yeah.
happened now? It's they're fighting each other.
Sure.
But I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have fighting? Eventually, it's happened everywhere. Mostly everywhere is that you have some sort of ceasefire and you have a détente and you have a peace accord. And I hope something happens because I don't see a happy ending there. Right?
No.
Here's hoping, man. Okay, so. On our way out here, you guys have been amazing, honestly. Rod, what a pleasure to meet you. We have to take a photo together before you drive off. The photo.
How the hell am I getting out of this dungeon?
Leo will help you with that. He knows the way out.
Yeah.
He knows the secret exit. On our way out, though.
There's an arm grabbing your head.
Yeah.
Rod Black, is there one question you would like to ask your friend Leo Rautins here on our way out? You have a question for Leo?
One question.
Yeah. It could be anything at all.
Oh, boy.
And remember, the mics are live.
Oh, boy.
Any question you have for your friend Leo?
I'll be serious and somewhat emotional. The question I have for Leo is how much toilet paper do you actually use during a month?
What an asshole.
No, that's what I said too. What an asshole. I mean, you got to use a lot of it. Like if you're here's the other one too. Here's the other one too. How many pairs of underwear have you ruined through the years? Ruined. I've been drinking this Great Lakes. How many pairs of underwear have you gone through?
You know what? I am so.
And don't try to play this. Everybody knows you farted. You fart all the time. Hey, anybody around?
Mike, 27 years. I had a stomach ache one day, and now I'm going to get crucified for it the rest of my life. I don't know how to take it other than and now I know what it's like to be wrongfully accused and vilified for.
Welcome to my world.
For one bad stomach ache. But
it's Leo, shameful. now it's your opportunity because now you get a chance to ask any question of Rod Black here.
This is a good one. This will be a good one.
See, I'm not like Rod though. See, I don't have to.
Well, no,
I don't have to dim his light.
Not dimming your light. I'm curious about your toilet paper consumption.
I don't know. I don't even have a question.
I'll let you off the hook here. We'll do this. Okay, so let me tell all FOTMs listening, and both of you as well, that if you go to doer.ca, DUER.ca, or go to the retail store on Queen Street West, you can save 15% right now with the promo code TorontoMike. This is durable, rugged, comfortable clothes that look fine. I wear my Doer pants and shorts. They're the world's most comfortable pants and shorts. And the t-shirts are awesome too. So save 15% with the promo code TorontoMike.
Does Doer have underwear for Leo?
Oh, there we go.
Probably.
Yeah.
So Leo,
it's called Did It.
Doer.ca, DUER. So here, before I play some lowest of the low and play us out, and then we go grab our photo there. Please, a moment of seriousness, if you will. Look each other into each other's blue eyes and tell each other what you mean to each other. Like, Rod, tell Leo what he means to you.
I tell him every day.
Yeah, you know what the best thing is? I haven't seen him in person. I don't think I've seen you in months.
Because he's a dick. I try to call him. He won't
it's
call me
been
back.
no, because he didn't get the bail money to me. But we don't see each other. We text each other. We bust each other all the time. And every time I see him, it's like we are meant to. We always said we're going to be together on some senior citizen's porch, telling stories about fart jokes when we're in our 90s, and I still have a feeling we will. But no, when you're with your best pal, you know what? You don't. There are some people who say, "Oh, I haven't talked to that person in a while." I don't have to talk to him every day.
Exactly.
I don't have to see him every day, but every time I see him, Leo, you light up my life.
No, man, I love this dude, and it's like you know what? I tell you, perspective is that we lost John Saunders.
Yeah,
and John and Rod and I love John, and we had some great times together. And when you have great people in your life, you got to appreciate every day you have them.
Yeah, Attitude of gratitude. We love my boy Leo Rautins.
And my boy Rod Black.
Well said.
And our boys.
And our boys.
Well, yeah, between us we have 12 kids, and of course we love them.
And girls.
you guys,
And girls.
Well, kids
And kids. And wives.
of all genders, various
And ex-wives.
genders. Yes, and ex-wives
Yeah.
too. So
We love everybody. We should just do We Are the World, right?
And
Why don't you
Charles
play We Are the
Barkley.
World? There's a transformation.
Thanks so much for doing this, man. Honestly, I just loved the idea of you guys reuniting in my basement, and look, it became a reality. If you think it, you can do it.
feels so good. Reunited and he farts so good.
And
Guy's
that
horrible. I hate that guy.
that brings us to the end of our
A-hole.
1080th show,
For Christ.
the Big 1080.
Douche.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike.
Bastard.
Asswipe.
Ass clown.
Leo, you're at
Shithead.
Leo Rautins on Twitter. You're a good follow, but you're at Leo Rautins. Rod, you're at Rod Black TV.
Are we done yet? I want to go. I can't stand this guy.
Mike.
That was so much bull.
Our friends
Mike's
at Great
dick,
Lakes
dude.
Brewery are at
Yeah.
Great Lakes
Sounds
Beer.
like-
What a shit show, huh? We got to come on here and do this crap.
Palma
Mike, get outta
Pasta's
here.
at Palma Pasta.
Pretend we like each other.
Look at Mike. He's not even wearing pants.
Sticker U is at
He's not even
Sticker
wearing
U.
pants.
Yeah.
Doers
Look at
at Doer
Mike likes like that. I'd wear
Performance.
pants.
He's a-
Ridley Funeral Home is at Ridley FH.
Let's get out of here, Rod.
And
Look at
Canna Cabana are at Canna Cabana
Freaking murderer.
_
He's got people in here.
Dead
See
bodies
you all
everywhere.
tomorrow, and my special guest
Love you,
is
Leo.
comedian
I love you too.
Love you, man.
Ron
I love you more.
James. See you then.
But I'm a much better man for having known you. Oh, you know that's true because everything is coming up rosy and green. Yeah, the wind is cold, but the smell of snow warms me today. And your smile is fine, and it's just like mine, and it won't go away. 'Cause everything is rosy and green. Well, I've been told that there's a sucker born every day. But I wonder who. Yeah, I wonder who. Maybe the one who doesn't realize there's 1,000 shades of gray. 'Cause I know that's true, yes I do. I know it's true, yeah. I know it's true. How about you? Oh, they're picking up trash and they're putting down roads. And they're brokering stocks, the class struggle explodes. And I play this guitar just the best that I can.